In this video, I'm going to be talking about how much strength training you need to be doing if you want to go professional, or just how much strength training you need to be doing to become the best player you can be. And I might have some controversial opinions of this, of how much you actually need to do, because I think in general, most people think they need to do too much, and that was me back as a young rugby player. So I want to give you this advice so you can put on as much muscle as possible, as easy as possible. Okay, so if you like this stuff, please like it, comment on it, have a discussion about your strength training down below. I'll reply back, and share it with your mates. That really helps me and my channel out. Okay, so let's get into this, shall we? So strength training. So I'm going to start off with a story about me as a young kid. So when I was, 17 to 20, I really wanted to take my rugby as far as I could. So I thought if I worked out, 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week, that I would put on as much muscle as possible to be able to, get out in the field and dominate. And let me tell you right now, yes, I did get stronger. At first, I didn't get faster. I actually got slower because I didn't get taught how to put on muscle well. I just got told how to bulk up with muscle. And yes, you will put on muscle if you're eating well, or, if you're eating a lot and training generally. But I didn't really get taught how to keep my body composition in check while putting on mass, while putting on strength. So that's part of the reason why now I teach rugby players that my programs is all about putting on muscle, but lean muscle, so you can go and use it on the field. And so, I really worked hard for it. When you're training 7 days a week, it's a real commitment. And a lot of you will know that if you're watching this. If you're training 7 days a week in the gym plus doing your rugby training sessions, that's a massive commitment. And it didn't bring me the best results. And if I had me now as my mentor, this is what I would say. I would say, Pat, you only need to do 4 sessions a week maximum in the gym. Okay, and I think a lot of people actually waste their time in the gym doing a lot of exercises. But if you're a rugby player, I think you should be doing the minimum dose possible to bring you the most results in the gym. Okay, and so when I say that, it's that means you don't need to do 7 days, because if you do 4 days compared to 7, all right, it's actually pretty hard for you to recover from 7 days a week, or even 6 days a week, or even 5 days a week. And you might be watching bodybuilders out there going and training, but influencers and stuff. Most of these guys are running some sort of anabolics. They're running some sort of peptides, which allows them to be able to train like that. And then you got to think about, okay, so what is actually making you a good rugby player? In the gym, if I make you, so if you have more muscle mass, okay, it's obviously going to make you safer, but it's also it should make you more explosive if you do it properly. If you get stronger, you should be a bit more explosive. So it should help out your physical aspects out in the field. It should. But really what's happening on the field is you're executing skills. Okay, so you're executing skills, and if you do not practice those skills, then if you just get stronger, and you haven't really practiced those skills, will you get that much better? Well, yeah, you'll get a little bit better because you'll be more athletic. Okay, so you definitely get somewhat better. But if you're not giving yourself time to execute the skills of tackling and going and looking at your weaknesses, maybe you're always tackling on your right side and you're forgetting about your left, or vice versa. All right? If you're not doing things like that, if you're not working on your tracking, if you're not working on your field position, if you're not working on your sprinting, okay, if you're not working on your catch and pass is massive these days, or if you're a prop or a front rower, you're not working on your technique there, if you're not working on your throwing as a hooker, if you're not working on your catching as a line-out jumper, you're not working on your line running, your hole running as a back, all these different skills that come into the makeup of rugby, then you're probably not going to get that much better. And that's the thing. It's well, if I can give you the minimum effective dose, okay, so that means it's still going to be effective. You're still going to put on as much, a lot of muscle. And then we can spend time on those key skills, then you're going to be such a better player, okay? So if you're actually trying to go professional, That's what you should be thinking about. Okay, so it's like, what's the minimum amount I can do in the gym to give me the most results? Okay, and I actually think that will long-term help injury prevention. Okay, because you're not going, your nervous system's going to be a lot better, and you're not constantly breaking down your body. Your body's not under less stress. Okay. So how do we do that? So one of the key important things I wanted to talk about in this video, which if you follow my Instagram, I've been talking a bit more about lately, and it's how I train people in my sets and reps. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're putting on size or putting on strength. I like to keep my rep ranges fairly low. Okay, and I'm talking usually under 6 for my main exercises. Okay, and it could be anywhere between 4 to up to 1 to 6. Somewhere in there will be my rep ranges. Okay, and I'm going to get to why soon. If I'm doing a bit more hypertrophy and my later, and so after I've done my main set, so when you go into the gym, you usually have one main exercise or 2 main exercises you're going to do, and then you'll do some accessory exercises. Now for my accessories, I might go a bit higher. I might go up to 8. Okay, and then if I'm doing some sort of endurance stuff at the very end, then I'll go my higher reps. Then I might go 12 to 20. Okay, sometimes 25. Okay, and the reason now for this, okay, is you need to actually understand how you build muscle. Okay, and the best examples I can use for you to hopefully wrap your head around is F45 training compared to CrossFit. Okay, you might have seen a whole lot of F45 training, and F45 training, what they usually do is a lot of high reps with minimal loads. Okay, and if just doing lots and lots of reps worked well for getting strong and building muscle, then you would see a lot of strong and big people coming out of 45. But you don't. You really don't. But it's very similar in CrossFit, but they generally use heavier weights, especially at the start of the workouts. Now, these is just like a pure example, okay? And what you see was with the CrossFit is, you'll see that they put on more muscle, and they're generally they're generally bigger, generally stronger as well. And so the comparison between these two is to grow muscle, okay, and this means for size, hypertrophy, grow muscle, and to get stronger, okay, it takes mechanical tension. Okay, it's not actually, which is what a lot of people think it is, they think it's the muscle breaking down and then growing back. It's actually not the muscle breaking down that's getting you stronger. It's the mechanical tension, okay, that does it. Now, when you're lifting, you need to think about your muscle groups or your muscles in terms of motor units, okay? So if we can start thinking in motor units, I'm going to try and make this sound as simple as possible. The motor units that when you're walking around, say if you're just walking around daily, go for a walk, okay, they're very low threshold motor units, okay? So you don't need to recruit a whole lot of motor units. Compared to sprinting, where you're going to be using high threshold motor units, okay? You're recruiting all your motor units, okay? And now this is the same for lifting weights, okay? So if you're lifting light weights, okay, you're going to be recruiting low threshold motor units. Okay, and as you fatigue, okay, what happens is then you'll start recruiting more high threshold motor units. Okay, and where we actually hypertrophize, so beginners will actually have like a medium threshold motor units where they will actually hypertrophize because they haven't trained it before, so they'll grow there. Okay, but then after that, that'll happen really quickly, and you'll actually see that with F45. They'll grow to that certain point, and then you won't get that high threshold motor units activation. Okay, because it's very hard to do it from doing high reps, 12 plus. And the reason is most people don't have the grit, their mind capacity to be able to push themselves that hard to use a weight that's right for 12 reps. Okay, they might be doing 12 reps with a weight they could do for 15 or even 20 reps. Okay, which isn't going to get them the high threshold motor units that they need to hypertrophize that muscle. I really hope I'm trying to make as much sense as this as possible for you. I'm trying to dumb it down so everyone can understand, okay? And so there's nothing actually wrong with using high reps. So you can use high reps, right? But when you use high reps, your nervous system is going to get a lot more tired because you're going to get a lot more muscle breakdown, okay, which causes a lot more inflammation in the body. All right, inflammation is not a bad thing, but that does not mean growth either. Okay, so for you to grow from higher reps, say you're doing 20 reps just for this, okay, and 20 was your maximum, like you couldn't do any more after 20, and you did that 20, and that 20th was so super hard, and then your technique started to fail. Now, you'll get 5 effective reps out of that. Okay, so from 15, 16, 17, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, effective reps. Okay, they are effective reps that are actually going to help you grow. Okay, but say like you did 20 reps and you could have done 25 reps and you could have pushed out for 25 reps. Then you have no effective reps in the high threshold motor units. Okay, and what you can actually recover from in a session and in a week is roughly around 25 effective reps. You could do that twice a week, actually. 25 effective reps twice a week. Okay, so if we can do less reps and get actual working reps that actually help us grow, okay, we can do that with heavier weights much faster, much more efficiently, without the massive breakdowns of muscle. Okay, which means you can spend less time in the gym. It means you don't have to work out as much during the week. And so, if we can do that, wouldn't that be way more beneficial than doing something doing high reps to put on a whole lot of size, or spending endless hours in the gym? So now that you know that, so one of my favorite reference set schemes, I don't use it all the time, but 5 sets of 5. Now, if you're using the right load on that, then you'll get 25 effective reps, essentially. And that's why it's most people that use it go like, oh yeah, I get a whole lot of growth from that. And the reason is because they've activated those high threshold motor units for a full 25 reps. And so then they can actually recover from that, okay, without doing the whole massive amounts of muscle damage of doing 60 to 80 total reps. Say you're doing 12 to 20s in a set trying to get a lot of hypertrophy. And even better about this is actually the strength gains that you get while lifting heavy. So while you're lifting heavy, it's very different on the movement patterns and how your brain actually accepts it. Okay, so lifting heavy is actually going to help you get stronger. Okay, so if you're a young rugby player or an old rugby player, you're trying to optimize your training so you can be the best rugby player you can be. Essentially, I program 4 days for my people who are the most keen. 4 days, that's maximum. Okay, and then 2 stretch days and a sprint day. Now, I actually like taking it down to 3 days in the gym if I can. Most people are pretty busy and can't do that, so then I'll take it down to 3 days in the gym, okay, or even 2 days, and with a sprint session, and then other skill work they can do outside of there. Okay, and that way we get starting to maximize your time. You don't need to spend all that time in the gym. Don't waste your time. And so, and this is another point that I also want to make, was when you get into in-season, people still train, I made this mistake too, I was training just as hard in my in-season as it was for my off-season, because I was like, oh, next year, if I can be this weight and this strong, I'm going to be this good. So I just got to keep training through the season. And then during the games, I was definitely already still a bit fatigued and sore. And I would also do 1,000 reps, not 1,000 reps, but I'd do literally so many reps because I wanted to put on as much muscle as possible, and I wanted to feel that burn. I wanted that pump. Okay, but yeah, that pump just means more muscle damage. So yeah, I really hope that's making sense to you now. So when you get to in-season, now your in-season is just as important as your off-season and your pre-season training. It's just as important. And you can optimize to train in the gym 1 day a week or 2 days a week. Now, I like 2 days in a week because I like to do things. I like to get to the gym, makes me feel good. Okay, 2 days a week with some stretch sessions and maybe some extra sprints or extra conditioning if you feel like that you need that. But that's what my in-season programming looks like. And they are honestly just as important because they're going to help you get through the season without losing a whole lot of muscle. And if you're losing muscle, I'm telling you right now, if you're not working out, you will be losing strength. Then by the end of the season, you're probably going to have more injuries, you're going to feel worse, and your performance is going to go down. Okay, whereas if you keep up your in-season training properly and like you're still programming it so that you're going through different phases and you have different emphasis on different things, slightly different things, then by the end of the season, you're going to be such a better spot for the next season coming, and your body should just feel better, and you should have less niggles. Like, it's not always the case because it is a contact sport, and sometimes there's big collisions and things happen, But in general, if you do your in-season programming, then you're going to be a lot better off. Okay, so like, don't undervalue how important in-season training is. Okay, and you really want to do that minimum effective dose. Okay, that minimum effective dose in season is vitally important. Okay, so we've gone through, I've gone through a lot, really. I've gone through how you put on muscle, so that's a massive one. I've gone through how you can minimize or how you can maximize your results out in the field, and that would be by reducing how much you do in the gym to your minimum effective dose, and then working on your skills. Okay, and doing lower rep training is going to be more beneficial for a rugby player if you're trying to build strength and hypertrophy. Okay, and most rugby players are trying to do that because that will help them most out in the field. Be more athletic. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll answer them. I hope that makes sense to you all. I have my in-season programming all available. I have my off-season. It's all available if you're keen. If you want to work with me more one-on-one, you want me to, customize your programming, more professional players, I also have that all ready to go for you. Please like, share it, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you around.